to go back to our office to go back and look at some of the purchase and go retroactively. I may have to call some of the administrators at the federal government level and see if we're following within the guidelines. But I know that no one's asked me to do anything illegal. But in case anybody in this room was asking, I'll go ahead and give the answer. And the answer is no. So we'll work with it what we can, but I can't give you a number right now because now that I know what you're looking for, we'll go back and look at it, and I can work with the CEO's office.
Thank you.
I'd like to implement one thing here because I'm trying to facilitate this, move this on. If we went, and just recognize what we have on the wall here, the options one, and left the hiring freeze in effect, and until we come to our, I'm not one for punting here, but maybe, if we done that and left the hiring freeze in effect, and there'll be no new hiring, and let's see what the numbers show up at the third quarter. Keep in mind, this was just the $907,000 the shortfall is after. That's just a mid-year budget review. We'll be getting a third quarter review here, and maybe we can see that. And if we keep the hard hiring freeze in place, that's not going to give the sheriff what he wants, but I think it will close the gap significantly to where he won't be asked to do more than that. Supervisor Brown.
In response to Supervisor Smith's comment about mandated, non-mandated programs, if we can't come up with further savings, I think we have to look at non-mandated programs and shut them down. We have to.
Right. But what my comment on that was that that's going to be more an impact for 0910.
Well, that's where my note was. But at this point, it seems like we can't find almost $1 million. I think we need to move forward and get a list of those non-mandated programs, bottom line.
We have.
But if we keep this hard hiring freeze in place, it's going to get us there closer, quicker than anything. Supervisor County.
The hiring freeze for the sheriff's office, 3 deputies through June 30th, even if they were hired March 1st, or if they would have been hired March 1st and now won't be hired, that would save us about $120,000, $130,000.
That's probably a fair estimate.
So that alone doesn't do a whole lot for us. The real question, though, we wouldn't want to have the sheriff hire people if we were going to put him in a position where he then has to lay them off in 09-10. Also, with regard to the animal control, one reason that was shifted over to the sheriff's office about a month ago was because it was going to be easier to fill those positions. And we were also told at that time what a dire situation there was in the rural areas of the county with inadequate animal control services. So, the things that directly impact people's health and safety, I'm really reluctant to go backwards on, but that's the direction we're headed. And I really don't want to take that step without investigating a lot of the other things that we've talked about today that may offer savings.
Okay, as I said 3 times before here, we're kind of going in circles. We need some direction. Is it the direction to basically stick with the options that are on the wall? Supervisor Smith?
Well, to the chair, we need to take some action here. I don't think we can just say that, we're going to hope that hiring freezes and utilizing asset forfeiture for vehicle purchases and maintenance is going to get us there, because I think to Ms. Wyatt's comments, this situation could get worse. And I think if we don't take the action now to put steps in place, we need to give the sheriff a number, we need to give Ms. Glassy a number, and they can bring us back the concrete ways. It may not be able to be done without personnel changes. Every department in this county has had to go through personnel changes. I mean, that's up to the sheriff. It's up to his budget maneuvering. It's up to his due diligence. It's up to some factors that are within his control and some that are not. So, I mean, I think that we just really need to give the number, and that's our responsibility, and go forward. I mean, I think we need to come up with a number and we could get lucky, and then things could shift, and things might get better in May, and they might get a whole lot worse. But I think we just need to do it. And we
Supervisor
can't-
Smith, if I may, I hope we're talking about the same number, because as a constitutional officer, you know that I have the constitutional right to spend the appropriate amount of money for public safety, depending on the positions that the Board of Supervisors allocates.
Right, correct.
So when you're talking about numbers, please don't talk monetary numbers, please talk personnel numbers. Because if this board votes to reduce the number of personnel in the sheriff's office, I will follow what your direction is. But if you just say reduce $100,000, I don't know if I can do it. But if you tell me to lay off 6 deputy sheriffs, if it's the direction of the board, then we'll go through with that.
Well, I think we would take direction on council for that, with respect to what you're speaking about, the constitutional authority. She's given us an opinion, so
And I'd like to hear it also.
we have that input. But I think we need to move forward with numbers, or we're never going to move out of this position.
Okay, Supervisor Brown, and then I need to entertain a motion of some direction here and float it out there and see if it has support or not.
Well,
We're just talking in circles here. The discussion is virtually over.
Well, I don't want to make this a motion because I don't know, I want to go down the list as you suggested. I think we need the hiring freeze. We need to accept the Building and Planning Department's recommendation, and that was options 1 and 2. I believe that's what it was earlier today.
Yes,
Already done
we've
this.
already done that.
We already did those actions.
Really what we're talking about
Okay,
is just the
the
sheriff's
just
office.
right there? Oh,
Yes,
just the sheriff's office?
Just the sheriff's
Yes.
office. We've already taken direction on the Building and Planning Department.
Well, I think we need a hiring freeze. I don't see any way out of it.
That's not going to do it.
Is that, are you willing to put that in the form of a motion?
Yes, I will. I so move.
Have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second?
And I'd like to ask, with the hiring freeze, then the executive office would still have the option to fill those 24/7 positions that have been identified, and anything else would come before the board.
If the CEO's office deems it a mandatory necessary position.
I would even give to the department heads the leeway to bring something to the board at their insistence and advocate for it if they thought it was essential.
The process comes from the department heads to the CEO's office and then to the board. I wouldn't want to supersede that process that's already in place.
But I think we've already done that. I mean,
Yeah,
essentially, this
yeah.
action is not any new action. This
Okay,
is already.
we have a motion and second to not implement, to continue with the hiring freeze through June 30th and to utilize the sheriff's asset forfeiture, vehicle purchase and maintenance, and reduce personnel at the discretion of the sheriff's office. That's what the motion is.
That's not,
That's not the motion.
Oh, I thought that was the motion up there under the option?
but Mr. Chairman, this is not going around in circles. This is taking about 4 steps backward.
Right.
This doesn't address
So
the
that's,
issue.
okay.
And we're back in August. I mean, come on.
Supervisor
let's-
Kovacs, I'll recognize you, but we got a motion
I'm
here.
I'm speaking to the motion.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
speaking to the motion.
she said that wasn't the motion, so I guess she's
Well,
rescinding the
that's
motion.
my effort to clarify it.
Okay. You want a chance to make another motion, or?
My motion was for the hiring freeze in the sheriff's department. Correct?
Well, I understood it was across the board.
Countywide, yeah.
Countywide, yes.
That's already in place.
But it would already, you're saying it's already in
Well,
place, so
there's-
I withdraw my motion.
Well, of course, that's only today that we're told that's in place. Last week it wasn't.
It wasn't.
so-
It was
Tom.
all
All the
do that
So I
with
withdraw
direction.
my second.
Tom,
do that with
can you give us some guidance here?
Tom Mitchell, Chief Executive Officer. I was going to suggest in the interests of transparency,